But we're hopeful that this August, 2 other horse book writers and I are going to get together and do a barn party outside in August. So we'll get to do like a little delayed book party.
And when you get to have, when you have your Claritin with you, can you go and ride horses again?
Yes. So I've done some trail rides. I love horses. I love one of my goals for the year after my pub date after March is to take some lessons and really get back into it. But yeah, I have Claritin freedom. So yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think. Let's talk a little bit about marketing in the time of COVID for all those authors listening that desperately need your tips and advice. Or aside from coming on this show, which obviously that's a no-brainer, but what other things what other opportunities are you finding to get you and your book out there?
Well, it's definitely a challenge. First of all, you came highly recommended from several writers, so this is such an honor because 2 different people said, "Oh my God, you have middle grade ninja." So, and this is my
2. I didn't know I had that many listeners. Fantastic.
You do, yeah, yeah. And so this is even though Flying Flamingo Sisters came out at the very end of December 2019, it was an audiobook, so I couldn't promote it exactly the way you would a physical book. And so this is my first real physical book launch. And now this is sort of a challenging way, but I learned from when I was doing marketing for Flying Flamingo Sisters how to be creative, how to reach out to writers to journalists who had covered either the children's space or audiobooks or might be interested. And I've learned that you can also, you have to do work if you are going to pitch, if you are going to ask someone to spend time writing about you, to help them, to say like, why would this be interesting? Is it a roundup of horse books, for example, or is it a flying magazine that might be interested in this Flying Flamingo Sisters because it's based on a true story about my grandfather? What are the different ways? So you have to be creative and you have to think about 10 different ways to pitch your book depending on the audience and how it might fit. The other thing I did, and I'm just doing my best. I'm just trying to read what I can and try different things and experiment. So I have seen other writers who did some sort of giveaway or bonus gift for pre-orders if you would screen grab the receipt. And I did a promotion like that just with my social media following and my friends and family. And it was such a great motivator because I know all my friends, like, they want to buy the book, but maybe they just clicking buy, which you should click buy, but clicking buy is, it's just that extra step. So what I offered were these cute little trading pins that have the horse girl book cover on them. And that was it was such a small thing, but it was such a big motivator. And I did it right before the holidays. So that was a big push. And then I reached out to horse magazines. So, I picked my genre and I reached out to those places first. And then from there, we're building to more mainstream media outlets. But using that interest, like, oh, this is a thing, and this is how, the other thing you really need to focus on, I found, is tying your book in to a greater cultural landscape or a news peg or whatever it might be. So I'm spending a lot of time talking about the horse girl renaissance because there are a lot of other horse books, and there's Black Beauty was just remade by Disney Plus, and talking about why horse girls are so relevant during the pandemic because we're all longing for that unconditional love and that tactile comfort that comes from horses. And you're just like, Chrissy Teigen became a horse girl this week, and all of those things become part of my pitches. So I would say whatever your book topic is, like, pay attention to what's happening, like, put yourself in the journalist's shoes. What is interesting to them about this? How could you help them tell your story?
Spoken I don't know like an expert journalist. So okay.
And also we're doing a lot of virtual bookstore visits, school visits, library visits. So as you can tell, I love talking to people. I love chatting. So I basically told everyone, put me in, coach. I'll go anywhere. I'll do. I'm up for anything. So I think that's really important. The more people you can connect, then they become fans and they tell their friends, and it's been really it's been I'm learning as I go, but I'm having so much fun doing it.
Well, I know I'm talking to you just ahead of launch, which is Tuesday, esteemed audience. Get your pre-order in. There's still time. Or if you're listening to us in the future, just get it. It's available. It's first girl time. But have you, at this point, had early reader reactions?
Yes. Well, I feel so lucky because I've gotten some incredible blurbs from Jane Smiley, who is the Pulitzer Prize winner of 1,000 Acres, and she's written all kinds of wonderful horse books. She had a new book come out, an adult book, like a fairy tale, an adult fairy tale, which is so beautiful. It's called Perestroika in Paris. So Jane Smiley wrote, and I'm told she just rarely writes blurbs, but she wrote this beautiful one for me, and I was just so touched. And I got a blurb from Matthew Aldrich, who is the screenwriter of Coco, and he wrote one of my favorite things about it. So and Sarah Maslin-Nier, who she has her own book called Horse Crazy, and she and I are going to collaborate on the Barn Party. And I got Soledad O'Brien, and I got Dana Gould, who's a Simpsons writer, and all these people. It's so generous. I think to myself, my goodness, these people have so much on their plates. They have so many demands out of them, and that they would take the time to read the book, or at least part of the book, and sit down and write something thoughtful. Like, my goodness, the generosity. I'm just blown away. I'm so blown away. So that was great. And yeah, I've been getting so much excitement. My early readers, of course, are very encouraging, and I just can't wait for people to read it, especially kids, like the tween, the middle grade readers. That's what I cannot wait for.
Well, I never know. Maybe we'll cut this out. I never know whether this is an appropriate question or not. But if I would love a quote, a blurb from Soledad O'Brien. That sounds really nice. Dana Gould. That sounds amazing. Is that something where you went out and you approached them, or did someone do that on your behalf?
And in I want to say 5 out of 6, or all but one, I approached them. So I just I reached out to let's see. A lot of people, like Sarah, I found on Twitter, and one of the best things you can do is actually buy that person's book, read that person's book, compliment them on something specific about it. Tell them why you like it. Tell them why they should care about you and your book. I guess it's hard to say, but yeah, I reached out to everyone. Now, it probably helps, and I don't know that we want to keep this in, but it probably helps that maybe we can keep whatever. My previous book was a bestseller, Flying Flamingo Sisters, so it was an Audible fiction bestseller for 4 weeks. So that gave me a platform to reach out, and I've written for a lot of notable publications. So that was a way to say, hey, take me, just take a chance on reading it. You don't have to write a blurb, but like maybe that motivated them based on my previous platforms to at least be willing to glance at the manuscript.
Why would we take that out? You work hard and you're reaping the benefits of that hard work. That absolutely makes sense.
Well, then leave it in. Fine.